I've read a lot of strange entries in the writer's journal, but this one, I almost didn't believe it. He'd written it in thick, unbroken paragraphs, ink bleeding like his hand never once left the page. The margins are littered with scratch marks and circles, as though he kept returning to certain words, not to change them, but to keep himself from forgetting. The page heading is nothing more than Black Hollow Road. The sky had already swallowed the sun by the time the rider turned onto that stretch of dirt. No moon, no stars. Just a yawning dark overhead, thick enough to feel like it was closing in. The air stank of stagnant water, though there wasn't a creek for miles. He could hear frogs all the same, distant, muffled, like they were croaking through walls of stone. The horse knew something was wrong before he did. Its ears kept twitching toward the woods that pressed up against the road, neck stiff, hooves striking too fast against the ground. The rider gave it its head, letting the animal move as it wanted. Out here, instinct often knew better than reason. It was in that half gallop when the rider noticed the light. Faint at first, like a dying ember hovering among the trees. Then it swelled, warm and golden, swaying as though cradled in someone's hand. A lantern, out here. Moving alongside him, the rider slowed the horse to a walk. The light slowed with him. He stopped entirely. The lantern stopped too. He called out. No answer came, not even the echo of his own voice. The frogs had gone silent. The night pressed harder. When the lantern moved again, it didn't sway like a flame anymore. It jerked, too high, then too low, like a head cocking to follow prey. The rider's gut told him it wasn't in a hand at all. He tried to see past the glow, but the dark wrapped around it like ink, giving nothing away. The thing carrying the light paced him again. When the horse shifted nervously, the rider nudged it forward. He told himself it was better to keep moving than to let the dark settle too long in one place. The trees on either side seemed to lean in, their limbs crowding the road. The light stayed level with him. Sometimes it would vanish for a breath, only to blink into existence a few yards closer. That was when he heard the voice. Traveler. It was soft, almost a murmur, but it came from everywhere at once. The left side of the road, the right, above, and underfoot. The rider's hands tightened on the reins. He didn't answer. The voice tried again, low and coaxing, like a trapper calling a hound. This way, the lantern light drifted toward the trees. The horse stopped dead, planting its hooves as though the road itself had turned to quicksand ahead. The rider's instincts told him to keep riding forward, but something, curiosity maybe, made him shift the rifle on his shoulder and take the first step into the woods. The earth gave under his boots like wet peat. Each step released the stench of rot and iron. The lantern light bobbed further ahead, just far enough to make him think he could catch it. Branches whipped at his coat, roots clutched at his heels. The woods grew colder, though the light looked warm enough to burn. The rider kept moving, every sense screaming at him to turn back. Then the light stopped. It hung there in the dark, still as a hung noose. The rider raised the rifle. The light flared brighter, and that was when he saw it. Not a lantern, an eye. A single, swollen orb the size of a man's head, burning with golden fire from within. Around it, something huge shifted in the dark. A body hunched low, covered in ragged fur the color of drowned leaves. Its limbs bent the wrong way, each joint tipped with claws that dug into the soil. When it opened its mouth, the glow inside spilled over rows of wet, hooked teeth. The voice came again, but now the rider could see its throat moving with the words. Closer. The thing moved before he could pull the trigger. It surged forward, its light eye swinging like a lure. The rider fired blind into the glow. The shot ripped through the dark, but the beast's bulk slammed into him like a falling tree. The rifle clattered away. Its breath was swamp-thick, hot against his face. The golden eye rolled in its socket, studying him, pulling him into that false warmth. His arms felt heavy, his knees weak. He didn't notice the claws curling around his chest until they started to squeeze. Through the blur in his vision, the rider saw something else. A second light behind the beast, smaller, dimmer, moving fast, the horse. It had followed him in. With a wild scream, the animal charged, hooves striking the creature's flank. The impact knocked it sideways, breaking its grip just enough for the rider to roll free. He ran. Branches tore his hands, his coat, he didn't care. Behind him, the beast bellowed, a sound like boiling tar hitting frozen ground. The golden light swung wildly through the trees, chasing him. The horse burst onto the road ahead, eyes white, breath steaming in the cold. The rider caught the saddle and hauled himself up without stopping. The beast reached the edge of the trees just as the horse bolted down the road. It didn't follow. It stood there, one clawed hand resting on a tree, golden eye fixed on him. The light dimmed until it was nothing but a coal in the dark. Then it winked out entirely. The journal ends with the writer's note, scrawled crooked in the bottom margin.
The thing that carries a light waits for travelers who think they can see through the dark. It is not the first I have met, and it will not be the last. But if it speaks to you, don't answer. It wants you to think you're the one walking toward it. Truth is, it's the one pulling you in.
If this ride left you looking twice at the shadows between the trees, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next rider's trail. And tell me, what would you have done if that lantern called to you? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching Cabin of Whispers. See you next time.